Relationships can be difficult, and sometimes things go wrong and you can get hurt, emotionally and physically. All relationships are different, and even the best relationships can't be perfect, but it is important to identify if your relationship is unhealthy or abusive. We've spoken to some young people who've had some of these experiences. For their own safety, their names have been changed and their words are spoken by actors. First relationships can be really hard, and it was particularly hard in Lily's case. We all feel like we need to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, but do we really think about what that means? If you have to do something that you really don't want to do in order to keep a relationship, this isn't a good way to have a relationship.
Well, I'm Lily, and I'm 17. I live with my mum, and I've just had, the worst relationship. I was so much more interested in him than he was in me. I was like a little puppy dog. I used to just, follow him everywhere. He was so much older than me. He'd had girlfriends before, it's my first boyfriend. He was just really popular, and people were more interested in me. People I barely even spoke to, and I never had that before. I know about girls that go on parties and lose it in the bathroom on their first time with some randomer, just because they're drunk. I was quite proud of myself for waiting so long. I was like, I'm not doing it. And then some slut comes along and sleeps with your boyfriend. Because I didn't want to lose him. Because he obviously went off and had it with some other girl because she would do it. So I thought, I'll do it and I'll be able to keep him. I knew he was seeing this other girl. She kept texting Josh. So I kind of texted her look, I know what happened between you two, but you need to back off. Then she texted me oh, you lost your virginity with a boy who was having sex with me, and I was just so mad. Why would you tell her that? Why would you go and tell some random girl about me? I still hate myself for doing it. I wish I'd waited, I guess. I'd be doing my makeup and stuff, and you'd just be watching me. And he'd be like, who are you going out with? Where are you going? I don't like her. I don't like him. What time will you be back? Text me back straight away. Come round to see you tomorrow. It was just quite intense. He was so possessive, too possessive.
Well, at first it felt like it had ended quite nicely, quite normally, they'd been getting on each other's nerves, they'd been arguing. Shall we split up? Yes, no, yes, no.
I was trying to avoid him, so when my friend rang me up and invited me to this party, I was like, is Josh going to be there? And they were like, no. So we went, and I walked in, and he was sat on the sofa, and I was like, oh. I went to the bathroom to touch up my makeup. And I could hear him outside with this girl. So I kind of just opened the door, and I was like, are you really going to talk about me when I'm just in here? Are you really going to do that? Because I can hear you, and that's not on. I just kept hitting him because he was so mad, and he just threw me across the bathroom. I just didn't think he would do that. I didn't really think he was that kind of guy. What I did was wrong, but I'm sure it didn't hurt. What he did.
It seemed like it was a weekly thing. There was something else for Lily to get even more upset about.
Everybody's in everyone else's business, and it's horrible. It's my personal business. I don't want everybody to know.
It might be another girl on Facebook. So then I'd go on and I'd check it all the time, when she was at college or school or whatever, just to make sure that nobody put anything else on there.
I don't know what I'd do without my mum. I tell her everything. Having chats with her about how I was feeling, and like she really helped me. It was really nice.
It's just talking things over, because they make sense once you start to talk them over, don't they?
She is the reason that I'm so much better.
Trust is really important in a relationship because some of the things you do in a relationship are private. Unfortunately, Lily had sex with her boyfriend before there was enough trust there, and boy did she learn that lesson hard. If you're going to be sexual with someone, make sure that there's enough trust there so that something like this doesn't happen. The single most important thing to get you through a rocky relationship is support around you and someone you can talk to. Lily was really lucky because she lived with her mother, and her mother was able to listen to her. Of course, not everybody can talk to their mother or their father about these sorts of things, but there is somebody out there, whether it's an aunt or an uncle or a teacher or a helpline. Get the support and talk to somebody about it. It's important to know what you're entitled to in a relationship. At the very least, you're entitled to respect, to not be emotionally, physically, or sexually abused. This is really important. Here's a story of a woman who fell in love with a guy under really typical circumstances. That is, they were out for a night out, he bought her lots of drink, and she thought he was the greatest thing in the world. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out that way, and it took him having to go to prison for her to realize she finally needed to get out.
To me, he did look like Prince Charming. Like, I know I was a little bit drunk, I had the beer goggles on a little bit. We were just chatting and stuff. He was really friendly. He was paying me compliments, being really nice. Like, I'd never had those sort of compliments before. He was buying me drinks. I'd never really been bought a drink before. I was quite depressed. I wasn't really caring about much. I wasn't really bothered about anything. I just wasn't in a very good place. And so, because I thought that nobody could or would love me like that, like when I met him, I think I rushed into it a bit. For the first few months, the compliments were still there. He was still being really nice to me, you know, paid me loads of attention. But then, like 3 or 4 months in, he wasn't the way he'd been that first night, and I realised that his personality wasn't like that. As time went on, he was doing more weed, he started doing more cocaine. It just, you know, it wasn't good. Because I got into doing cocaine as well, there was times when that was the only time that we'd actually get on. We'd been out in Croydon. I was really drunk, you know, he was really drunk, and we'd gone out for his sister's birthday, and we were in the middle of a street in Croydon, and I think he said something to me, and I said something back that was really rude. You know, I probably shouldn't have, but I did. And we got into a bit of an argument, and I just remember him just looking at me and just slapping me, just, you know, raising his hand, just slapping me right around my face. I told him to go himself and that no man ever hits me and stuff. And then, you know, a couple of minutes later, we were walking home kissing and cuddling. I was about 5 months pregnant, and we'd been arguing, and I can't remember what it was about, but he grabbed me round the throat, like here, I don't know what that bit's called, but he grabbed me on the throat, and he looked at me like he wanted to kill me, and he threw me down on the ground. And I was 5 months pregnant when that happened, and I just remember thinking, what am I doing? But, you know, I didn't get out. I think it was like routine, really, and habit. I'd tell him to off, and he'd tell me that I was a slut and stuff, and then we'd just, you know, we'd get back together. If he hadn't have been arrested, I probably would still be with him, to be honest, yeah. It was the middle of the night, and he rang me, because you get a phone call, don't you, from the police station. And he was, you know, oh, baby, I love you. You know, I'm at the police station. I'm really upset. You know, come and get me. And I paused for a minute, and I sort of pulled myself together because I could feel myself, you know, getting emotional. And I just said, no, sorry, bye. It's good, isn't it? Good turnover. Looking back on it now, I feel really good that I did that, because that was it then. That was like the line under it, and it was over. for me. And, you know, he was in prison and I didn't care, I didn't want to see him, because I knew if I'd have gone to see him, he would have sucked me in again with that whole, come, I'll come back, I'll change, I'll do this, I'll do that. And I knew that it wasn't going to happen, so I just was harsh then and just said, that's it, no, bye.
Oh, there you go. One more time.
Do you believe in love?
Well, I love my kids and I love my mum. Yeah, I suppose I do believe in love, but I don't think I believe in love at first sight anymore.
We all know that lots and lots of relationships start on a drunken night. However, it's really important to think about the role that alcohol and drugs take in your relationship. For example, do you only have a good time when you're high or when you're drunk? Do you only get along when you're high or when you're drunk and you find it tough when you're both sober? If you can't have a good enough relationship when you're both sober, then you need to do some serious thinking about how good that relationship is. One of the things that allows you to ignore the real stuff that's going on in a relationship is the way you feel about yourself. If you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling like you're no good, if you're feeling like nobody loves you, and these are a lot of feelings that people have when they've been abused at home or have bad relationships with parents, you expect the same sort of thing in a relationship. And then when it starts to happen, you feel like it's what you deserve. Well, it's not what you deserve, so it's really important to change that idea of yourself in your head and find relationships that respond to the good parts of yourself.
I think that's an interesting thing.
This one piece will make 52 layers.
Watch on mobile devices or the big screen. All for free. No subscription required.
One of the most important things in a relationship is trust, and trust is not something that happens overnight. Trust is something that develops over time. People do mess up, but then they recover from having messed up, and you learn to trust that even if they mess up, they'll come back to you. So really allow trust to develop. When it doesn't develop, that's when some pretty bad stuff can happen.
We met in the last year of school. Going out nearly 2 years, like on and off. I suppose you could say it's been a bit of a rocky relationship, really. A couple of things have gone wrong. I was taking drugs or smoking weed, or I was drunk and I just literally used to end up beating someone up. I just needed someone to take it out on, if you know what I mean, and I just end up taking it out on her. I always used to be like, who you with, like, what you doing, where are you? I wanted to know everything. I did get a bit jealous at a point, yeah. It feels horrible. It's like the person you're jealous of, you want to hurt that person, do you know what I mean? Some geezer was texting her and he wanted her to go meet him, and obviously my girlfriend's a pretty girl and all that, so I can understand other boys fancying her, do you know what I mean? But I wanted to just go up there with her as if she was going to meet him, and then I just wanted to come around the corner and just batter this guy because I was jealous. We used to argue a lot, but it was mainly about just stupid things. Like, she always used to go out with her mates, and I just used to say to her, why can't I come? Like, why am I not invited? She'd say something like, well, you're always out with your mates playing football. We'd end up having a full-blown massive argument about it, shouting and screaming at each other. Just stupid, no reason, really. I have lost my temper a few times, like at my uncle's 40th birthday. We was all having a few drinks, we was all quite merry. And this couple of older women, maybe 30, 35-year-olds, they were saying to me, look how good looking he is about me and all that. And I said, hey, listen, baby, you're hearing what they're saying, they think I'm good looking and all this, literally having a laugh. And she just took it to heart, and she told me to f off as well, and she slapped me in the face. And I grabbed her like that. She sort of went like that to get off me, ended up banging her head against the wall. I'd rather be punched in the face than slapped, because I think a slap just stings a lot more for a start, and it's humiliating, in front of everyone, when your girlfriend slaps you in the face. It's horrible. We broke up maybe 5 or 6 times. One time I actually had sex with another girl, which we broke up about, but I told her about it. I did tell her about it, and we broke up, and we got back together a week later. I always drinking, smoking, taking drugs. I was always smoking weed, and I used to fight quite a lot as well. I just weren't a very nice boy at all, really. But I've made her life a hell of a lot more stressful. So everything from like, taking drugs to drinking, fighting and like getting arrested. I had a court case hanging over my head. Like I honestly thought I was going to prison. And I just said to her, like, maybe we should break up because I didn't want to keep hurting her. So about a month before the court case, we broke up as well. I think being on tag helped me a lot. Obviously, I didn't have the opportunity to be going out with my mates, getting pissed out my head and fighting and stuff like that because I had to be in at a certain time. And the programme that they put me on as well, it just helped me a lot. I felt like I was the only person who was being like that. I felt like I was a really horrible, nasty person. And like, I don't know, I felt really shit about myself. And like this programme, it helped me realise that I'm not actually the only person in my position. There are loads of other people out there like me. Trying not to worry about things that we were worrying about, like jealousy and other people and things like that. And I think, all in all, we've just realised that we do actually love each other. We love each other a lot and we've got things back on track.
If a relationship is founded upon jealousy, this relationship is not working. Either trust needs to be built up so that each of you can lead an independent life without being spied on, or it might be a relationship that you just need to get out of. There are lots of people like Sean who go off and they take drugs and drink a lot of alcohol and get into fights, and while they think that this is a really good time, often it's an expression of something that's really not going right in somebody's life. The trick here is not to go off the rails so much that somebody catches you and forces you into a program like that, but to realize that your behavior and the way that you're feeling isn't working for you, and call for help yourself, get it sorted, and then you can really have a relationship that does work for you. We all have difficulties and problems. Some people think going into a relationship is going to fix these problems, and the trouble is, it doesn't. Sometimes the relationships can make it worse. Rose and her boyfriend were pretty depressed when they went into the relationship. Both of their troubles kind of piled up and made the relationship pretty bad.
Well, we were both quite volatile. We both kind of had a type of depression, probably, both of us. We would just pretty much argue all the time, literally over everything, where we were both so volatile. A lot of the time he'd text me, and then if I didn't reply, he'd call me and call me and call me, and he'd say it was because, you know, he wanted to know if I was all right, or, you know, just see how I was. There was always some reason I had to go home early. I wouldn't want to have to go, but I think I sort of gave up, you know. In the end, I wouldn't go out because it was easier, you know, without a scene. I didn't know if when I saw him he was going to be pleased to see me, or was he going to be furious, or was he going to be something in between, you know. Yeah, it was really on edge. I would self-harm, and he would self-harm as well, but in a different way. He would cut himself and he would punch walls, or he would hit himself, you know, hit his face. It wasn't that I was afraid of what he would do to me or how that would be. It was just what he would do to himself, because he was so depressed and he was suicidal. I just worried, literally, that I wouldn't be there if something was going to happen. I would cut myself, but I would do other stuff as well. Like, I would punch myself in the face or, you know, hit my head against the wall. It was the only kind of coping mechanism that I had. It was a really big thing the whole way through the relationship that I didn't enjoy sex, you know, and I didn't want to have sex because I wasn't enjoying it. And I was made to kind of feel like it was my problem. I'd be really tense, and sometimes he couldn't even, you know, get inside me. He'd say, you know, you're so tense, and I'd be like, yeah, I know, it's because it hurts. And then he'd kind of just carry on, you know, even when I said no sometimes. The lowest point was just being worried about him all the time, you know. If I was to go out or to, like, leave, it would be just worrying, like, when's he gonna call, you know, when's he gonna call and I'm gonna have to go home, and then I'm gonna have to, you know, just deal with the fact that he wants to hurt himself, or he's gonna phone me and say that he's thinking about, you know, killing himself, or that he doesn't want to live anymore. My friends were saying things to me about him. At the time, I just wouldn't believe it, but those people care about you, you know, those people know. He decided to go to America for the summer, and that actually just gave me time to get away and separate myself from that situation. It was obviously the end of the relationship. It was just a really good thing. I had time to just, you know, enjoy doing the things I wanted to do and having no one judge me or criticise me, which was brilliant.
It's really important to remember that your body is your own, and actually your body has a way of telling you things. When Rose was with her boyfriend, she couldn't let him in. She couldn't enjoy sex with him. She didn't want sex with him. This is a way her body was telling her that the relationship wasn't right. It's also important to remember that since your body is your own, you get to say no whenever you want to. You can be raped in a relationship. If you say no to your partner, they should stop. If you say no and they carry on, this is rape. I think that Rose wanted to leave her relationship a long time before she actually did. When her boyfriend went away, it gave her the opportunity to get out of the relationship and not go back. The important thing to remember here is, when you feel like you need to go and you're sure you need to go, go. Don't wait for something else to get in the way. When we hear about abusive relationships, we almost always hear about the man being the abuser and the woman being abused. While this does happen a lot of the time, it's important to remember that abuse happens in all sorts of relationships, straight and gay, among both men and women. Chris is young and gay, and in his case, he was only out to one person, his friend. So that meant that there were already a lot of secrets around. And when there are a lot of secrets around, you don't have a lot of safety because people don't know what's going on with you.
Yeah, I'd say I was probably just some kid that was really broke down, to be honest. I was quite miserable. At that point, I was only out to my friend Sarah and nobody else knew. So I did feel really kind of isolated for not being able to tell anyone. I started chatting on this chat site, and you like go on and you make up a fake nickname as you do, and I pretended that I was 19, when actually I wasn't, I was 15. And I just started chatting away to these people really, but because I wasn't out to a lot of my friends and my family, it was just such an escape route. Like, I just felt so comfortable that I could talk to these people. I started chatting to this one guy. I didn't really know what he wanted, to be honest, but I thought, you know, I'll take a chance and I'll meet him, and so that's what I did. I was really nervous. I was like, oh my God, why am I doing this? You know, I was really scared. Then when I met him, I just thought, wow, like, actually, he's a lot cuter than his picture. I met him about 4 or 5 times. I actually turned around to him and said, oh, you know, can we go back to yours? I said to my mum, going away for the weekend, I'm just going to Sarah's and I'll be back Monday before school. The first weekend was really good, like, oh, it's just amazing, like, even thinking about it now. He was so, like, nice and gentle with everything. So it was like a really positive first experience, to be honest. That's when it all went downhill, you see. One particular night, I was like, right, I'm going to meet Sarah. And he was like, what do you mean you're going? You're taking the piss, aren't you? And I was like, no, I need to go. And he was like, well, you can't go because I've locked the door. I don't know, he's just got such a split personality where after all this happened, he was like, oh, you know, I'm sorry, and blah-biddy-blah-biddy-blah, and started being all lovey-dovey again. I never really knew where I stood. Because nobody knew where I was, nobody knew I was with this guy, you know, it was all undercover. I was always really worried because I thought, you know, if anything happened, if I made him angry, like, what would I do, you know, where would I go? I did feel quite alone in all of this. One time, he actually, like, forced himself upon me. I couldn't, like, get away, it was quite physical. And I don't know, I guess I would say it was rape purely for the fact that I was, like, crying my eyes out all the way through and I just couldn't do anything about it. And, like, that night I just cried myself to sleep and he just sort of did what he did and then rolled over and went to sleep and he didn't even say anything to me. I was still young at the time. I thought, it's not legal and I didn't want him to get into trouble, so I just kept quiet about it, really. The kind of abuse got more physical. So I was, like, punched and kicked and hit and stuff, and then once I went to school with a black eye, and people were like, oh, how did you get that? And I was like, oh, I just fell over outside, like, and I had to make up loads of lies. I went to meet a youth worker, you see. I told her the story like it was a friend, as you do, and she turned around to me and she said, Chris, she said, this isn't about a friend, is it? It's about you. And I said, yeah, it's about me, and at that point I broke down. Talking to someone really helped. She said to me that I needed to end it. I said, you know, I'm really scared, but she said, you're going to have to end it. And so that's what happened. It's coming up to my 21st birthday. I'm a much more confident person now. I'm more outgoing than what I was before, and I'm stronger as well because of what's happened and because of the people that I've met. I've got so much more self-esteem now to push myself forward. Before, I was this shy, like, young guy, whereas now I just feel I can be more open and be more myself.
A lot of the time, we can trust our instincts that tell us whether we're going the right direction or the wrong direction. With Chris, this was difficult because it was his first gay relationship and the boyfriend was so much older than he was and was experienced. So Chris naturally thought, this guy's got all the answers. He knows how to do a relationship. That meant that Chris didn't trust his own feelings that things weren't going well until things got really, really bad. Sometimes you realize how terrible secrets are only once the secret's over. In Chris's case, this meant coming out, and he came out in the safest way he could, by talking to the youth worker. Once the secret was out, and once he could feel secure about his sexuality and had a support network, he didn't have to have relationships under secrecy anymore, and it was a great deal of freedom and happiness that could follow.